The heavy oak doors swung open, and a glamorous woman in a glittering red dress stormed into the room. Her heels clattered against the marble floor, her face twisted with rage. All heads turned toward her, the atmosphere tightening like a drum. She pointed a trembling finger at Halima, her voice slicing through the silence. "What is your office cleaner doing here?" The room froze. Halima's hands shook, her spoon clattering softly against a plate. Chief Obina's brows furrowed in confusion. Grace pressed a hand to her chest. The woman's eyes narrowed at Kelechi, burning with accusation. "Kelechi, are you cheating on me with her? Is this why you haven't been picking my calls?" Her voice trembled between fury and heartbreak. She took a step closer, her expensive perfume filing the air as she glared down at Halima like she was dirt beneath her feet. Halima looked up, stunned and ashamed, her lips parting to speak but no words coming. Her heart pounded in her chest, her secret unraveling before her very eyes. Kelechi leaned back in his chair, his smile gone, his confidence shaken. He searched for words, but found none. His family's approving eyes had shifted into suspicion, confusion, and betrayal. Servants whispered at the corners of the room. Ngozi, Kelechi's sister, whispered sharply to her husband, the Ifeanyi. "Did she just say cleaner?" The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Chief Obina's deep voice rumbled across the table, stern and heavy. "Kelechi, explain this." But Kelechi said nothing. His jaw tightened, his hand curled into a fist. Halima's face burned with shame. In that moment, she wished she could disappear into the polished tiles. And then, before anyone could speak again, Kelechi's glamorous accuser slammed her bag on the table, scattering cutlery. "Answer me, Kelechi. Who is she to you?" Gasps filled the room. Abuja at night was bright and loud. Music from bars mixed with the sound of traffic. The central medical complex stood tall, with glass walls that reflected the city lights. Inside, people spoke in low voices. Nurses walked quickly. Machines beeped. The smell of sanitizer lived in the air. Dr. Kelechi Okafor moved through the corridors like he owned time. Patients trusted him. Junior doctors watched him. He was fast with decisions and calm with his hands. Newspapers had called him Golden Hands. It made him smile, but it also added pressure he did not show. He worked long hours. He saved lives. Then he went home to a clean penthouse, changed into a clean shirt, and went back out to spend money he did not need to spend. He liked attention. He liked noise. He liked not feeling alone. People knew him. Women liked him. He never promised more than a good evening, but he also did not say less. At the hospital, the nurses talked in the staff room. "He is kind to patients," one said, "and unkind to his phone charger," another joked. "It never rests." They laughed, but they also admired him. He was the best in surgery. Some of them had seen him cry quietly once when a child did not make it. He was not only pride and perfume. At home, in Enugu, Chief Obina watched from a distance. He had built Okafor Pharmaceuticals with slow hands and hard choices. He wanted his son to lead it one day, but he did not want a man who could not sit still. One evening, in the big study lined with books, Chief spoke. "You save strangers. Good, but this family also needs saving. The company needs a leader who sleeps early." Sometimes Kelechi stood, arms folded. "I am not a child." "Then do not live like one," Chief said. Grace tried to soften it. "My son, your father is only worried." "I hear you," Kelechi said. "I will try." He meant it in that moment. He also knew try was a soft word. Later that week, he told himself to stay in after work. He ordered food. He watched a show. He lasted 1 hour. His phone buzzed. He showered, changed, and drove out into the night. At 2 a.m., the music faded. He stood on a balcony above a club, looking at the city. He felt the usual emptiness walk up to him and take a seat. He ignored it, the way he always did. He did not know his father had begun to speak with the board about interim plans. He did not know someone else in the family, Ngozi's husband, Ifeanyi, had started to act like a quiet owner. Halima worked nights when the hospital was calmer. She liked the hours. She could check on her mother in the mornings and still walk to work by noon. She carried a small notebook in her pocket where she wrote the money she spent each day: milk, Panadol, transport. She drew a line under the totals and wrote, "Keep going." That evening, she pushed her cart past the framed photos of doctors on the hallway wall. She paused by the glass door of Kelechi's office and tapped lightly. "Doctor, can I clean now or come later?" He looked up from his screen. "Now is fine." He stayed at his desk while she dusted. There was a soft hum from the AC. The city lights blinked beyond the glass. "Halima," he said after a few minutes. She turned. "Yes, sir. I need someone to attend a family dinner with me in Enugu. Not a relationship, just a +1 so the room is less tense. My parents are on my neck." He rubbed his forehead. "I would pay you for your time, transport, hotel, and a fee for the weekend. You can say no. I will not be angry." She blinked. "Why me?" "You are calm," he said. "You speak with respect. You don't like drama. I need quiet." For one evening, Halima held the duster in both hands. "Will your family know I clean?" "I won't hide it if they ask," he said, "but I won't throw it in their face. I will introduce you simply as Halima. If anyone is rude, we leave." She looked down at her shoes. They were neat, but old. "Where would I sleep?" "Separate rooms," he said quickly. "At my parents' mansion. No funny things. I sign it if you want." He pulled a plain sheet from a pad. "I can write the terms. Start and end times. Your fee. That I can't ask for anything personal. That you can leave anytime." Halima watched his face. It did not look like a joke. It looked like a tired man asking for help in a way that did not shame either of them. "How much is the fee?" she asked. He named a figure that made her chest go light. It was not crazy money, but it would clear 2 months of hospital bills and school fees. She took a breath. "I need to think. I also need something to wear. I'll add a small wardrobe stipend," he said. "You can buy what you like. Keep the receipts, or don't. I don't mind." She thought about her mother's cough last night and her brother's exam fees due next week. She also thought about pride. Pride tasted nice, but never paid a bill. "Okay," she said, "but I want the paper." He smiled. "Fair." He wrote the agreement by hand. She read it slowly. It was simple. Names, dates, pay, separate rooms, a right to leave. She signed. He signed. They took photos of the page with a small phone and his big one. "Thank you," he said. "Please don't make me look like a fool," she said. "I won't," he said. At home that night, she told her mother only that she had weekend work in Enugu. Her mother squeezed her hand. "Go and come back safe." Halima nodded. "I will." They left Abuja early. The driver was quiet. The road out of the city was busy and then became long and green. Halima counted trees when her head felt noisy. Kelechi worked on his tablet for a while, then closed it and tried normal talk. "What do you like to cook?" he asked. "Fried rice when there is chicken stock," she said, smiling a little. "But beans is cheaper." He laughed. Beans is the real hero. She relaxed a bit. He did not speak to her, like she was a chair. At a shopping plaza before Enugu, he stopped and handed her the wardrobe money from the agreement. Buy what you like. I'll wait at the cafe. She went in alone and chose a simple dress, flat shoes, and a small bag. She texted him a photo from the fitting room. He replied, "Perfect, if you are comfortable." At the mansion, Grace met them at the door. "Welcome," she said, warm and curious. "You must be Halima. You look neat." "Thank you, ma," Halima said. Chief came from the study. His eyes were firm but not unkind. "You are welcome," he said. "Any friend of my son is a guest here." Halima did not know where to put her hands. Grace saved her. "Come, help me check the stew," she said, leading her away like a mother hen. In the kitchen, Grace lowered her voice. "My son brings noise sometimes." "You are restful," Halima smiled. "I only came to eat and go back, ma." "Eat and go back is fine," Grace said, smiling too. At dinner, Kelechi pulled Halima's chair because that was the role of a host, not because they were acting. He served her water because everyone was pouring for each other. He touched her hand once when Chief asked a sharp question, not to pretend love, but to steady her. "Where did you two meet?" Chief asked. "At the hospital," Kelechi said. "We've had a few talks. I invited her today." "What do you do, Halima?" Chief asked. "I work at the hospital," she said. It wasn't a lie. Silence. Then Grace spoke, light and sure. "Clean hands make safe hospitals." Kelechi breathed out. He had not asked for that help. Dinner moved on. Laughter returned, slowly. Then the red dress arrived. "Cleaner." The word hung in the air like smoke. Amaka stood there, daring anyone to correct her. Chief kept his face still. Grace's smile faded. Kelechi felt heat in his neck. "Amaka," he said calm. "You were not invited." "I don't need an invitation to protect my dignity," she said. "We have been seeing each other. I called you for 2 days. You ignored me." "That's true," he said. "I should have ended things clearly. I'm sorry for that. But this is not the place." She looked at Halima. "How much did he give you to sit there?" Halima's mouth opened. She closed it. She would not explain her signed paper to a room like this. Grace stood. "Enough." Amaka's eyes watered. "I thought we were serious, Kelechi." "We were not," he said, gentle but honest. "I was careless with your feeling. I accept that. But please, leave this girl out of it." Amaka laughed in disbelief. "This girl? This girl is the point." Chief raised a hand. "Young lady, you have made your point. You may go now." Amaka stared at them. She seemed to realize she no longer had control of the room. She picked up her bag and looked at Halima one last time. "Enjoy your new seat," she said. "Just know it is not stable." She walked out. The doors closed. No one spoke for a long moment. Then Grace said, "Let us finish our meal." But the food had turned to paper. After dinner, in the corridor, Kelechi found Halima standing by a window. "I'm sorry," he said. "I did not plan that. I should have told her to stop earlier." Halima looked straight ahead. "I don't like to be shamed." "I know," he said. "If you want to leave, we drive you to a hotel now. I'll transfer the full fee. No hard feelings." She surprised him. "No, we signed. We finished the weekend." He nodded. "Thank you." Later, in the guest wing, a housemaid showed Halima her room and left. The room was clean, with a soft bed and a small balcony. Halima sat on the edge and breathed out slowly. Across the hall, Kelechi sent a short message to Amaka. "I'm sorry for the hurt. I should have ended things properly. Please don't come to my parents' home again." He put the phone face down. In another part of the house, Ifeanyi stood near a dark window and dialed a number. She is here, he said quietly. Yes, I'll handle the next part. The voice on the line asked, Are you sure? Don't worry, he said. No one checks the small things. He told them to come to the Enugu plant. Let your eyes see where our name stands, he said. They moved through wide corridors. Workers wore hairnets and gloves. The air was cool and smelled clean. Machines hummed like low music. This is where we make oral rehydration salts, Chief said, pointing. This is IV fluids. That building is antibiotics Halima kept to the side. She watched how people greeted Chief with respect and how he knew some of them by name. She noticed a guard with a small girl who coughed into her elbow. The guard looked lost. Can I help? Halima asked him softly. Please, he said. Her mother went to the market. I had no one to stay with her today. They took the child to the small clinic room. Kelechi joined without ceremony. He checked the girl's chest, wrote a note for the nurse, and walked the father to the plant pharmacy to collect medicine. He told the cashier to put it on the staff welfare. When they returned, the guard whispered, Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Outside the clinic, Kelechi looked at Halima, and his normal show-off smile did not come. You notice people, he said. I try, she said. They continued the tour. In the accounts block, ceiling fans turned lazily. Clerks moved papers from desk to desk. A man in a gray shirt showed them a simple summary. Money in, money out. Vendors paid, balances carried. While he talked, Halima heard voices from a half-open door down the hall. Shift last quarter's write-offs, a man said. Move them to cost of sales. Another voice was nervous. Sir, there will be a gap in raw materials. Smooth it with vendor prepayments. Split it across two names. Nobody checks small suppliers. The first voice was familiar. Ifeanyi. Halima kept her face calm. She turned back to the desk and pointed at a page. Can I see the prepayment schedule? She asked, like she was only curious. The man in gray was surprised but polite. You can look. He passed her a blue folder. She flipped through. Dates did not match goods. The same handwriting signed different vendor names. The balances rolled forward without closing. Her chest tightened. She did not say anything. Not here. Not now. She only asked, Where do you keep copies of delivery notes? In the store office, the man said. Thank you, she said, and handed the file back. As they walked out, she felt eyes on her. She glanced down the hall. Ifeanyi stood by the doorway, phone in hand, smile easy, eyes hard. In the car back to the mansion, Kelechi asked, You were interested in those files? I like order, she said simply. That night, after dinner, she knocked on Kelechi's door. 5 minutes? She asked. He stepped aside. Come in. I heard something at the accounts block, she said, about moving numbers. It sounded like hiding things, not fixing them. I looked at the prepayment file. Some vendors looked like the same person with different names. Kelechi folded his arms. Where did you learn this? I studied accounting before I dropped out, she said. My father died. I couldn't continue. He nodded. Slow. What do you want me to do? Ask for the purchase orders and the delivery notes for those vendors, she said, and the bank statements that match them. He sighed. If you are wrong, there will be trouble. If I am wrong, I will apologize and go. He watched her for a long moment and then pulled open his drawer. He took out a slim stack of photocopies he had grabbed earlier. I took summaries after the tour. I didn't know why. Maybe now I do. Look at this first. She spread the sheets on the table. She traced dates with her finger. She circled amounts that repeated under different names. She wrote 3 vendor names on a small sticky note. Ugochem Supplies, Sunrise Excipients, Delta Care Packing. She added one line. Same hand. Kelechi leaned in. You might be right. A floorboard creaked in the hallway. A shadow paused. Then the sound of soft steps moved away. Kelechi looked at the door and then back at Halima. Tomorrow, he said, we ask for. The next morning started quietly. Halima folded her blanket neatly in her guest room before heading downstairs. But when she stepped into the corridor, she almost collided with Ngozi, Kelechi's elder sister. Ngozi raised a brow. You're up early. Yes, ma, Halima said softly. Ngozi glanced past her shoulder into the room. My brother is not one for early mornings. How do you manage him? Halima smiled faintly. I don't manage anyone, ma. I just greet the day as it comes. Ngozi gave a short laugh. Polite. Too polite. She leaned closer. Enjoy it while it lasts. Then she walked away, her perfume trailing behind. Halima's chest tightened. She had the feeling Ngozi did not trust her, and maybe never would. At breakfast, the family gathered again. Chief asked about the day's plan. We will go through the production wing this morning, then accounts again in the afternoon. Halima nearly dropped her spoon. Accounts again. Grace noticed her stiff shoulders. Don't worry, child. Just walk with us. It's only numbers. Yes, ma, Halima said, lowering her eyes. When they reached the accounts block later, the head accountant handed over some ledgers. Routine checks, he explained. Every quarter. Kelechi leaned back in his chair, bored. Same as yesterday. The accountant smiled politely. Mostly, yes. Halima sat quietly, her fingers folded. She kept her eyes on the files, but in her head she was replaying the voices she had overheard yesterday. Smooth with vendor prepayments. No one checks the small suppliers. She wanted to speak, but this was not her place. When the group stepped out for a tour of the storage area, Halima lingered for 1 second at her desk, her eyes sliding across a delivery note. She recognized the handwriting. She tucked the memory away before joining the others. As they walked back to the cars, she felt a shadow behind her. She turned. Ifeanyi was watching her again, his hands in his pockets, his smile sharp. Do you find our numbers interesting, Halima? He asked. She kept her tone neutral. I like to learn new things. His eyes stayed on hers for a moment too long. Then he chuckled softly. Careful. Some things are dangerous to learn. Her heart skipped. She forced a smile. I'll remember that. In the SUV, Kelechi leaned close and whispered, Did you see something again? She nodded faintly. It's not only sloppy. It's intentional. Someone is taking money. He frowned. Say it clearly tonight. Not here. She nodded again. But when they reached the mansion, she noticed Ngozi whispering with Ifeanyi near the gate. She couldn't hear what they said, but their eyes slid toward her once. Her stomach dropped. Something was moving against her. That evening, Halima knocked on Kelechi's door again. He opened, phone in hand. Come in. What did you find this time? She set a small piece of paper on the table. 3 vendor names. Same handwriting on delivery notes. Same amounts. Rolling forward, he sat down. Reading the names. Ugo Chem, Sunrise Excipients, Delta Care. You sure? She nodded. Yes. And yesterday, I heard someone talking about smoothing with vendor prepayments. It sounded like Ifeanyi. Kelechi rubbed his temples. My sister's husband? I don't want to accuse without proof, Halima said. But it fits. He looked at her seriously. How do you know these terms? You clean offices. Her voice was calm. I studied accounting for 3 years. I had to drop out when my father died. But numbers don't leave you. They stay in your head. Kelechi leaned back, staring at her. You're telling me the cleaner in my office could read these ledgers better than the accountants we pay? She met his eyes steadily. Sometimes people see better when no one notices them. He laughed once, short, surprised. Then he grew serious again. If you're wrong, this could explode. If you're right, it could save everything. Then check quietly, she said. Get the purchase orders and bank statements. Compare them. Don't say my name. He nodded slowly. Agreed. For the first time since they had made the deal, he felt she wasn't just helping him pretend, she was protecting something bigger. A floorboard creaked outside. Both their heads turned. The sound faded down the corridor. Halima's stomach twisted. Someone's listening. Kelechi set his jaw. Then tomorrow, we move carefully. The sitting room was filled with soft chatter. After dinner, Grace had insisted everyone sit together for tea. Halima sat quietly at the far end, sipping slowly, trying to blend into the background. Suddenly, Ngozi's sharp voice cut through the calm. My bracelet! Where is my bracelet? Everyone turned. She clutched her bare wrist in disbelief. The gold one. My husband bought it in Dubai. I had it before dinner. Now it's gone. Grace frowned. Ngozi, check your bag. Maybe you set it aside. I had it on my wrist, Ngozi said firmly. Her eyes swept the room. Someone must have taken it. Chief Obina's expression hardened. Search this room now. The servants moved quickly, checking under the cushions, behind the curtains, even under the rugs. They found nothing. One maid whispered, Madam, maybe it fell upstairs. Ngozi glared. Bracelets do not vanish into thin air. Her eyes landed on Halima. You've been moving about the house freely, haven't you? Halima froze, the cup trembling in her hands. I have only gone to the kitchen and back to my room. I never touched your things, Ngozi scoffed. Convenient. Grace stepped in gently. Let us not accuse anyone without proof. We will search again in the morning. Chief nodded slowly. Yes, no rash words tonight. His eyes lingered on Halima longer than she liked. The evening ended in strained silence. Halima returned to her guest room, her heart pounding. She sat on the bed, staring at her small bag in the corner, her thoughts racing. In the corridor, Ngozi whispered to Ifeanyi, It doesn't make sense. Where could it have gone? Ifeanyi gave a thin smile. Don't worry, it will turn up. The next morning, as the sun rose, two maids began cleaning the guest wing. One pushed open Halima's door with a knock. She was still at breakfast. The maid began to sweep when her broom struck something beneath the bed frame. She bent down, then gasped. A small velvet pouch lay tucked against the wall. Inside glimmered Ngozi's gold bracelet. Her hands shook as she carried it downstairs. Madam, Madam Ngozi, we found it. Where? Ngozi demanded. The maid hesitated, eyes wide. In Halima's room, under the bed. A stunned silence fell over the hall. Grace's face drained of color. Chief's cane struck the floor sharply. Bring her here, he ordered. Halima entered moments later, confused by the whispers. When she saw the bracelet on the table, her blood ran cold. Ngozi's voice dripped with accusation. Explain this. My bracelet was in your room. Halima's eyes widened in horror. That's impossible. I never touched it. Someone must have put it there. Chief's voice was heavy. This house cannot live with such shame. Pack your things. You will leave today. Halima turned to Kelechi, desperate. You know I didn't do this. Please, say something. Kelechi's jaw tightened. He looked at his father, then at the bracelet gleaming on the table. His silence screamed louder than words. Tears filled Halima's eyes. She bowed her head, picked up her shawl, and walked away, her dignity in pieces. Behind her, Ifeanyi stood near the door, his lips curled in the faintest smile. The morning after the bracelet scandal, Halima was gone. Her guest room lay empty, her borrowed gown folded neatly on the chair. Servants whispered in corners. Some pitied her, others muttered that shame always has roots. At breakfast, the air was stiff. Grace stirred her tea without drinking it. Chief ate in silence, his cane resting against his leg. Ngozi sat proudly, her bracelet back on her wrist, as if it proved her right all along. But Kelechi's mind was elsewhere. He kept seeing Halima's face, eyes wide with hurt, voice trembling. Please, say something. And his own silence in reply. He had wanted to defend her. He had wanted to believe her. But the evidence had been so damning. And so he had said nothing. Now, the taste of that silence filled his mouth like ash. 2 weeks later, the outside auditors arrived. Suits, laptops, clipped voices. They moved through the accounts block with practiced precision, combing ledgers and vendor files. Staff grew restless as whispers spread. Ghost suppliers, payments without goods, forged signatures. The results were presented in the grand study before the whole family. 3 ghost vendors, the lead auditor explained. Millions siphoned off into shadow accounts. The scheme has been running for more than 2 years. The handwriting matches Mr. Ifeanyi Naji. The room erupted. Grace gasped, pressing her hand to her mouth. Chief's face flushed with fury. Ngozi froze in her chair, staring at her husband. Ifeanyi jumped to his feet. Lies! This is a setup. But the evidence was undeniable. Dates, signatures, accounts. Everything pointed to him. And then, to everyone's shock, one of the younger maids stepped forward, trembling. Please, I must speak. Chief frowned. What is it? Her voice cracked. It was me. I found Madame Nosey's bracelet. But I did not find it, sir. I put it there, in Miss Halima's room. I was paid. Gasps filled the room. Grace's teacup slipped and shattered on the floor. Paid? Chief thundered. By who? The maid's eyes filled with tears. By Master Ifeanyi. He gave me money and told me to place it under her bed. I was afraid to refuse. Ngozi's face went white. Ifeanyi roared, She lies! But no one believed him now. Grace wept openly. Chief closed his eyes, shame heavy on his shoulders. We cast out an innocent woman, he whispered. Kelechi felt the words cut deeper than any knife. He had watched Halima walk away without fighting for her. He had let her go. Chief opened his eyes and looked straight at the sun. Kelechi, you will find her. You will thank her on behalf of this family. Without her, we would still be blind. Kelechi nodded, his chest tight. I will find her, father. For the first time in years, he wasn't being ordered to protect the company. He was being ordered to make something right. Kelechi dialed Halima's number first. It rang, then cut off. He tried again. She ignored it. He sent a message. Please, I need to talk to you. My family knows the truth now. No reply. He went to the hospital where she used to clean. The supervisor shook his head. She left 2 weeks ago. Said she needed to be closer to her mother. Kelechi sighed. Do you know where she stays? The man hesitated, then called over another cleaner who had been close to Halima. She won't like me telling you, the woman whispered, but she goes to the general hospital every day. Her mother is admitted there. That evening, Kelechi drove to the dusty compound of Kano General. The wards were crowded, the air heavy with disinfectant. Nurses moved briskly between beds. And then he saw her. Halima sat by a frail woman's bedside, spoon-feeding her slowly. Her hair was tied back, her wrapper plain, but her posture, calm, steady, patient, stirred something deep in him. He stood quietly at the door until she noticed him. Her eyes narrowed. "What are you doing here?" she asked flatly. "Halima, please, I came to apologize, to explain." Her lips tightened. "Explain what? That you watched them call me a thief and said nothing?" His chest ached. "I was wrong, blind, but the truth has come out. Ifeanyi has been exposed, and the maid confessed. He paid her to plant the bracelet in your room." Halima's face flickered with shock, then hardened. "And now you remember me?" "I never forgot you," he said quietly. "Not for a single day." She turned back to her mother, refusing to look at him. "My mother needs me. I don't have time for your family." "Then let me help," he said, his voice cracking. "Not as a bargain, not as a deal. Just let me stand here, even if you never forgive me." Her hands trembled slightly as she set down the spoon. She said nothing, but she did not send him away. After 3 more days of visits, Halima finally agreed to meet Chief Obinna. "Only because I want to hear it from his own mouth," she told Kelechi firmly. The Okafo mansion's gates opened slowly as they arrived. The atmosphere inside was heavy, as if the walls themselves carried shame. Grace met her at the entrance, eyes red. She grasped Halima's hands. "Child, forgive us. We wronged you." Chief stood in the study, cane in hand. His voice was low but steady. "We threw you out like a thief when you were the one who saw the truth. Without you, my family's name would have rotted. For that, I thank you. And for the shame we gave you, I beg forgiveness." Halima swallowed hard. For a moment, she saw again the night they drove her out. The whispers, the bracelet on the table, Kelechi's silence. She nodded slowly. "I accept your apology. But trust is not paper. It does not mend in one fold." Chief bowed his head. "Fair." Kelechi stepped forward. "Halima, I can't undo what I failed to do, but I will spend my life proving I should have believed you." Her eyes softened. "Words are easy, Kelechi. Show me with your life." That evening, after the apology in the study, Kelechi asked Halima if they could walk outside the mansion. The garden was quiet, the scent of hibiscus heavy in the air. "Halima," he began, his voice steady. "I want to ask you something. Not as a doctor, not as a son of this house, but as a man. Will you let me date you? For real this time. No contracts, no pretenses." Halima stopped walking. The lantern light from the veranda fell across her face. "Kelechi, do you think I forgot what happened here? The woman in red who stormed the dining room, shouting. The way you stayed silent when I was accused. I know your lifestyle. You're a man who changes women like clothes. Why should I be different?" Kelechi's chest tightened. He rubbed the back of his neck, struggling for words. "You're right. I have lived like that for years. But not because I wanted love without meaning. It's because I stopped believing in love at all." He took a deep breath. "When I was in my 20s, I loved someone. Deeply. I thought she was my future. Then she left me for an older man. A rich man who could buy her the life she wanted. I broke. After that, I told myself, never again. I would never give my heart to anyone. So I drowned myself in work and filled my nights with faces that never mattered." He looked at her, his voice raw. "But then, you came. You didn't chase me. You didn't flatter me. You just noticed things no one else cared about. You reminded me what respect looks like. You made me want to try again. Halima's heart thudded painfully. For a moment, she almost reached for his hand, but she pulled back. And if I trust you, Kelechi, if I believe this, and you change your mind one day, my mother is fragile. My siblings depend on me. I cannot risk a heartbreak on top of everything. Her words cut him, but he nodded slowly. I understand. The next morning, she returned to Kano to care for her mother. 2 days later, Kelechi appeared in the crowded ward. Halima blinked in surprise when she saw him at the bedside, talking quietly with the nurses. What are you doing here? She asked. I'm moving your mother to a private hospital, he said firmly. She needs better care. Don't argue. This isn't about you and me. It's about her life. Within hours, her mother was transferred, placed in a clean, quiet room with proper monitoring. Medicines were arranged, bills settled. Halima watched from the corner, her throat tight. Days passed. Her mother began to recover, strength returning slowly. One evening, she called Halima close and whispered, My daughter, this man is different. I see it in the way he treats me, the way he looks at you. Don't let your fear blind you. Halima's heart softened, though pride held her tongue. 2 days later, Kelechi asked her again. This time, his eyes carried no charm, no pride, just hope. Halima exhaled, her lips trembling into the smallest smile. Yes, she whispered. Kelechi laughed, relief flooding his face. He pulled her into a hug, careful but firm, as if afraid she might vanish. Her mother smiled from the bed. Now I can heal faster, she said softly, and for the first time, Halima believed. The sun was just beginning to set when Kelechi and Halima arrived at the Okafor mansion. This time, she wasn't coming as a frightened guest or a falsely accused thief. She came as herself, Halima Yusuf, daughter, sister, survivor, and the woman who had uncovered the fraud that nearly ruined the empire. Her mother, stronger now and walking with the aid of a stick, had insisted on coming too. If my daughter is stepping into fire again, I will stand beside her, she had said. The iron gates opened slowly, and Grace was already waiting at the top of the steps. When she saw Halima, her face broke into a smile. She hurried forward, clasping both her hands tightly. My daughter, Grace whispered, tears in her eyes. This house is your house. Forgive us for what we did. Halima's throat tightened. Mama Grace, I forgave you already. But trust takes time. Grace nodded, pressing her hands. Then, let us start again. Chief Obina was in the study, seated with his cane across his knees. His eyes flicked to Halima, then to her mother, then back again. For a long moment, no one spoke. Finally, he stood. His voice was heavy, but steady. You were wronged here. I cannot take back the shame you suffered. But I can say this, without you, my family name would have rotted in dust. For that, I thank you, and for misjudging you, I beg your forgiveness. Halima swallowed. Sir, I accept your apology, but what matters to me most is my dignity. You took it from me that day. I had to fight to get it back. Chief's jaw tightened, then relaxed. And you fought well. From today, no one in this house will ever question your worth again. Grace placed her hand on Halima's shoulder. You are a daughter to me now. Her mother smiled faintly. Then she will not walk alone anymore. Kelechi cleared his throat, his hand brushing against Halima's. Father, mother, I want you to know, Halima is not only the woman who saved this company, she is the woman I love. And I will stand with her, no matter what comes. Grace's eyes filled with tears again, but this time, there were tears of joy. Chief studied his son for a long moment, then gave a slow nod. For the first time, I see a man standing here. Not a boy chasing shadows. If she accepts you, then so do I. Halima's lips curved into a small smile. She didn't answer immediately. She simply held Kelechi's hand tighter. A week later, the boardroom of Okafor Pharmaceuticals buzzed with cameras and reporters. Chief addressed the press himself. This company nearly collapsed because of greed, but it was saved by the sharp eyes of one woman. From today, Halima Yusuf will serve as financial controller to ensure such darkness never enters our walls again. Applause filled the hall. Cameras flashed. Halima stood tall, steady, and unafraid. Later that night, back on the balcony of the mansion, Halima leaned against Kelechi, looking out over the city lights. It feels strange, she murmured. From cleaner to this. He smiled, squeezing her hand. Not strange, just destiny. She laughed softly. For the first time in a long while, the sound was free of bitterness. Inside, Grace was already planning how to introduce Halima to family friends. Chief sat quietly in his chair, but a faint smile touched his lips. The Okafor home, once filled with suspicion, was alive again with hope. And for Kelechi and Halima, this wasn't just the end of a storm. It was the beginning of a life together, built not on lies, but on truth, sacrifice, and a second chance at love.